Hey there, fellow gardeners. If you're anything like me, you've probably spent months staring at that pile of dry leaves in your yard, just waiting for them to magically transform into that beautiful, crumbly black gold we call compost. And if you're really like me, you've wondered if there's a faster way to make it happen without dumping a bunch of chemicals into your garden. Well, I've got some incredible news for you. There's a secret mix that can dramatically speed up your composting process, turning those dry leaves into usable compost in record time. Now, before you call me out on the overnight claim, let me be real with you. We're not talking about literal magic here, but what we are talking about is a method so effective that you'll see dramatic transformation within 24 to 48 hours, and finished compost in just a few weeks instead of the usual 6 months to a year. That's pretty close to overnight in gardening time, right? Here's the thing about dry leaves that most gardeners don't fully appreciate. Those beautiful autumn leaves sitting in your yard are actually carbon-rich powerhouses just waiting to come alive. But here's their problem. They're missing the nitrogen-rich materials and moisture they desperately need to break down quickly. Think of dry leaves like a car with a full gas tank, but no spark plugs. All that potential energy is just sitting there, unusable. When leaves fall from trees, they're deliberately designed by nature to break down slowly. That's actually a protective mechanism for the tree, creating a gradual release of nutrients back into the soil. But as gardeners, we don't have time to wait for nature's leisurely pace. We want that nutrient-rich compost now, and we want it without harmful chemicals that could mess up our soil biology. So, what's this magical combination that makes everything happen so fast? Well, it's actually a 3-part system that works with nature, not against it. The secret lies in creating the perfect carbon-to-nitrogen ratio, adding the right moisture level, and introducing beneficial microorganisms that kickstart the decomposition process. Your secret weapon starts with coffee grounds. Yes, those used coffee grounds you've been throwing away are absolute composting gold. They're nitrogen-rich, slightly acidic, and packed with compounds that microorganisms absolutely love. For every 5-gallon bucket of dry leaves, you'll want to add about 2 to 3 pounds of used coffee grounds. If you're not a coffee drinker yourself, don't worry. Most coffee shops are happy to give away their used grounds for free, and many even have them pre-bagged for gardeners, just like us. The second ingredient is what I call living compost starter, but you might know it simply as fresh grass clippings or green plant material. This is where the real nitrogen boost comes from. Fresh grass clippings are about 4% nitrogen by weight, which is exactly what those dry leaves are craving. Mix in roughly 1 part fresh grass clippings to every 3 parts dry leaves. If you don't have access to grass clippings, vegetable scraps from your kitchen work beautifully too, especially things like lettuce leaves, kale stems, or even overripe fruits. You know, the third component is the one most people overlook, but it's absolutely crucial: finished compost or quality garden soil. You only need about a shovelful for every large pile, but this is what introduces billions of beneficial bacteria and fungi that will do the actual work of breaking down your leaves. Think of this as the starter culture, like adding yogurt to milk to make more yogurt. Now here's where technique really matters. You can't just pile these ingredients together and hope for the best. The way you combine them determines how quickly you'll see results. Start by shredding or chopping your dry leaves if possible. Whole leaves take much longer to break down because they have less surface area for microorganisms to work on. If you have a lawnmower with a bag attachment, just run over your leaves a few times. If not, stuffing them in a garbage can and chopping them with a string trimmer works surprisingly well. Layer your materials like you're making lasagna. Start with a 4-inch layer of shredded leaves, then add a 1-inch layer of coffee grounds, followed by a 1-inch layer of grass clippings, and then sprinkle that finished compost or soil over the top. Repeat these layers until you've used up all your materials. As you're building your pile, add water between each layer. Your pile should feel like a wrung-out sponge, moist but not dripping wet. Here's the critical part that most guides skip. You need to turn this pile after about 12 hours. Yes, I know that sounds like work, but trust me, this is what activates the rapid decomposition. When you turn it, you'll already notice it's warm, maybe even steaming. That's the microorganisms going to town on your materials. turn it again the next day, and then every other day for the first week. Within the first 24 hours, your pile will heat up to temperatures between 130 and 150 degrees Fahrenheit. This is exactly what you want. At these temperatures, weed seeds are killed, harmful pathogens are destroyed, and decomposition happens at lightning speed. By day 3, those crispy leaves will already be softening and breaking apart. By week 2, you'll have material that looks almost nothing like what you started with. So, folks, the entire process usually takes about 3 to 4 weeks to get finished, usable compost. I mean, compare that to the 6 months or more you'd normally wait, and you can see why this method is such a game changer for gardeners who want results. The beauty of this method is that you're not adding any synthetic chemicals or accelerators, you're simply giving nature exactly what it needs in the right proportions. The coffee grounds and grass clippings provide nitrogen, the leaves provide carbon, the moisture supports microbial life, and the finished compost introduces the workforce of beneficial organisms that make it all happen. This approach works whether you're composting in a bin, a tumbler, or just a pile in the corner of your yard. The principles remain the same, and the results are consistently impressive. So there you have it. The secret mix that transforms dry leaves faster than you probably thought possible. No chemicals, no expensive additives, just smart gardening that works with nature's own systems. Give this method a try this season, and I guarantee you'll never look at a pile of autumn leaves the same way again. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe to Grow with Soil for more practical, no-nonsense gardening tips that actually work. And hey, share this with your fellow gardeners who are still waiting around for their compost to finish. Let's grow together.